yeah, I do want to start things off, I guess, and just kind of discuss what just went on. The, chaos of the world over September 23rd coming. And going back on it, when things first came out about September 23rd, that Brother Joshua video, and I saw the video, and I originally was like, no one knows the day or hour. That's not possible. I don't agree with this. And then, I started watching a few other videos. And when I finally heard about the idiom, that was what changed me. I was like, oh my gosh, Jesus was talking about the Feast of Trumpets. He was using an idiom. And then I started to really believe. And, like I made the video, I asked God for confirmations, and I truly thought I received confirmation. And I still went back and forth in my mind if this was going to happen or if this wasn't. Maybe I made up those confirmations, but they were just so blatant. They were so real. And now that it's passed, I'm kind of angry at myself. I've prayed a few times on it already and repented and asked for forgiveness, but I allowed myself to be swayed away from what the actual word is. And I think it's because I wanted it to be true, and I allowed myself to be swayed. And yeah, I'm really actually disappointed. And I have to look at it as a learning lesson, because I will never let that happen again. And in these, I do still believe it's the final days. I believe the rapture could happen any moment, but we don't know when. And that is very clear. I went back and read it again yesterday. And it's not an idiom. It's not. Jesus is saying no man knows the day or hour. He says the angels don't. The Son doesn't. Only the Father knows. And then he goes on to even give a parable about knowing. So I clearly was putting blinders up. The one part I still don't understand is, what were those confirmations? Was it coincidence? Because there was just so much that I don't feel like it could have been coincidence. Was I being deceived by the enemy? That's a possibility. I don't know. And that's something that I've also prayed to God about, and I don't know how I'll get an answer on that. I really don't. But I think it's just something I'll have to live with, is I don't understand what those confirmations were. When we're talking about some of the kind of leaders during the whole rapture lead up, we had the Brother Joshua, everyone knows that, and Medic for Christ, and some of these guys that were the loudest voices out during it. I just want to leave it with, I don't know. I genuinely believe Medic for Christ seems like a great person, truly loves God, and he was just putting together dates, and a lot of that stuff really lined up. That's what was making it easy to believe. As far as Brother Joshua, I don't know what his intentions were. I don't know if he was deceived by the devil acting as Jesus. I have no idea, and I'm never going to know. But the one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to judge him, because that's not my place. That is between him and God on what happened there. And I just have to move forward with my life, and so does everybody else. And I do believe that God let the devil test all of us who were believing that those dates were coming. God let the devil test us, and we failed. I know I failed, and that's okay, because fortunately this time the consequences are minimal. I know God is a forgiving God, and I can repent to him, and I can tell him that I'm never going to let it happen again. But as we move closer to the real end, there's going to be more and more and more deception. And that's why I think this did have to be taken as a learning lesson for a lot of people. Really looking forward to getting back to the basics. Before all the rapture stuff started, I spent most of my time, my free time, reading the Bible, learning more about the Word, researching, watching learning videos, teaching videos about the Bible, and I was really digging into all of that. And I feel like all the rapture stuff sidetracked me. I allowed it to kind of take over my mind, and oh, is it's 2,550 days from this. It's year 77 of Israel. It's going to happen, and that kind of hijacked my mind personally. And I'm looking forward to getting back to the basics, just connecting with God, to learn more about His Word, to have a deeper relationship with Him, and to move forward and not have some countdown on my life, and just getting back to remembering that God could come at any time. That's how you are meant to live your life. That's how God intended us to live our lives, is knowing that He could come at any time. So how are we living?